Hi guys, this is Jonathan Cohn, founder of Halo Homebuyers and Halo Redevelopment. I just wanted to go over a quick topic today, and a question that many sellers are asking is how possible is it for an investment company to close on their house in 3 to 5 days. There's a lot of companies that do promise of quick, fast closing. Some say 3 days, some say 4 days, 5 days, whatever the case may be. My suggestion is to always be leery of what seems too good to be true. What sounds to be too good to be true usually is, so I would stick with that. And I'll just kind of go over the reasons why I think that, without being too negative, of course, why I think that is a very improbable thing that is going to happen. Okay, so the first thing is title work, right? So the importance of title is to make sure that you can cleanly convey the deed over to the next buyer when you go to sell it. So that's the reason why we get title insurance. So that's something that we do, that's something that a lot of investors do, and that's something very important to do from a risk mitigation standpoint. So that's just one of our general practices. Now, there's very few people that are going to just buy your house and not get title work on it. I mean, there are those people out there, and if you find them, God bless you. That you're going to probably get a really quick closing, and they're probably going to be out of business, unfortunately. But trying to stay on a positive track, it's non-feasible, and it's very improbable that you're going to come across that. A lot of the reputable guys in this business like to mitigate their risk by making sure that the title is clean, because they're going to go out and have to sell the house, so they want to be able to convey that to the next person. So that's the first thing. And then the logistics along the way is it takes some time to order title. For our attorney, after attorney review, we order title the same day. The title can take, sometimes 3, 5, 7 days, depending on what title company you're using. Now, we try to obviously shorten that, and we use people that understand the importance of making sure that they're operating very quickly, because we're trying to provide that level of service to our clients, making sure that we're as fast as possible. So, we work with a team of people here that understand the need for that. Now, I can't say that about every person, but in any case, there is a delay in terms of when title is ordered to the time that title is actually gotten. So that's just something to keep in mind. The other thing, number 2, is environmental. Now, we always sweep property. We issue a tank sweep. We have a tank sweep company that comes around and makes sure that the property is free of underground storage tanks. And underground storage tanks can be a big issue if they're leaking, and then if the oil ends up going to a water table, it depends on how long the oil tank was in the ground, how long it was leaking for, will determine basically how bad it could be. And it could be bad. It could be $100,000 plus in terms of expenses to remediate and clean up. So that's something that we always do, is tank sweep. So that does take a few days for that to take into effect, meaning from the time of getting somebody out there to do the tank sweep to the time we get the report back, there is some time in there. Now, my company is very fast, but that is something that many legitimate buyers are going to want to have, and that is, I think, a viable thing to do. So that's the other thing. The third thing is there's unknowns, right? There's things construction related that I may not be privy to, I'm not aware of, so I have to bring in guys that, my team of guys that know, okay, this is going to cost a lot more than I thought. And sometimes that happens. Very rarely do I need to bring guys in during the offer process, but there are times where I may need to. If there's termite infestation everywhere and I'm a little scared with how bad the damage is, then I'm going to bring in my pest guy just to make sure. And I think the key message here is there are things that need to be done throughout the closing, and these things are all stuff that we do and many other reputable companies do. And the reason why we do these things is so that when we're there to give you your offer, we want that to be your final offer. Meaning, we're not going to string you up in a contract for 30 days and then tell you, hey, Joe and Sally, guess what? In order for us to close tomorrow, we're going to need an extra $10,000 off the purchase price. We don't do those things. Okay, so we're going to spend an extra a few days here and there to do the due diligence on the front end to make sure that the closing is as smooth as possible on the back end, that everybody is protected in the transaction, that it truly is a win-win situation. And that's why I think that a 3-day closing is very improbable when you're dealing with reputable companies. Okay, so we say that we can close in as little as 10 days, and that is a possibility. However, everything must be almost perfect and smooth and well coordinated for that to happen. So, and we've been doing this for some time, so for new people to promise 3 days, it's just I just can't see it. So that's just my opinion. So those are the reasons why I think it's a 3 to 5 day close. Even is just it's unless somebody is willing to come to your doorstep and drop a bag of cash on your house and not care about anything related to the property. That's pretty much the only scenario I can think of. But that's just not how it's done in the real estate business. So lastly, the legality aspect of it, right? So in New Jersey, you deal with attorneys, and attorneys are people, right? So they take vacation. Some are better than others, and sometimes we're dealing with uncooperative attorneys on the seller side. So what that does is just holds up the process. Attorney review, it's supposed to take 3 days, can take 5, 7, 10 days depending on attorneys being able to coordinate and convey what they need to convey to get out of attorney review, making sure everybody's okay with the contract. So that's another element of it. So all in all, the fourth thing is going to be the scheduling of closing, right? So just scheduling anything can be complex when you're dealing with multiple people and when there's a lot of people involved. You're dealing with attorneys, so just getting people at a closing table, believe it or not, can actually take ample time to do that, especially like I said before, when people are on vacation and people have issues that they're dealing with in their personal life, that could take some time. So not to drag this on any more than I want to, those are a few things as to what I think are the reasons why I think the 3 to 5 day closing is very improbable, especially when you're dealing with reputable companies out there. So my tips for you is, number one, just ask how long has that person been in business for. Just make sure that you're dealing with somebody that's experienced, that's been through the process, that understands the closing nuances. Somebody that's been through it and has seen a multitude of things that may come up are better able to adapt and go through it, and then just make sure that you're going to come to a smooth and successful outcome. So, just deal with somebody that's experienced, or try to at least. The other thing is, just ask who you're dealing with. And what I mean by that is ask in what capacity is the investor company acting in. Are they a middleman in the transaction? Are they an end buyer? If they're a middleman, just understand that they're looking to wholesale the property to guys like myself, rehabbers, who people are looking to develop the property. So there's nothing wrong with wholesalers as long as they do what they promise they're going to do. It's just that understand that there's an extra leg in the transaction, and that possibilities can happen where they may not find an end buyer. So just be aware of that. I'm not trying to harp on being negative. I'm just trying to be realistic, and that's something that people do encounter. So, and last but not least, just try to be cooperative. And it sounds silly for me to say that to a client, but it takes a team attitude and team approach to make sure that the transaction is as smooth and as fast as possible. There are times where I may need something from the seller in order to move forward on my end in terms of what I need to do to get it done. But so if I am having a hard time, going through getting in touch with the seller, or if their attorney is not being as cooperative, and I may need the seller to sort of light the fire. It's always good to come at it with a team approach. Hey, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to need you there as well to help me if I run into any roadblocks. So that's sort of our attitude. We like to communicate. That's the key, as best as possible with our sellers. Make sure they're in the loop and updated every step of the way. Handhold, basically. And just make sure that we're doing what we can and doing what we promised that we were going to do. So that's how we like to treat it. And that's really it. So just just to reiterate, just make sure you're dealing with experienced and reputable guys, companies. Ask in what capacity that they're acting in. Are they middleman in the transaction? Are they the end buyer, rehabber? And also be cooperative. Understand that there's a level of activity that you're going to be having to do in that transaction. I'm not talking about major stuff, just picking up a phone call or, answering an email or whatever with whatever information that's required. So understand that just being cooperative is going to help the process along. So that's about it. Sorry for dragging this out. Hopefully this was helpful. Definitely long-winded, but I'm hoping that you guys get something out of it. If you have any questions for us, you could feel free to contact us through our website, which is www.hallohomebuyers.com, and that's HALO homebuyers.com. There'll be a link at the bottom of the video if you need to get to us. If you have any questions, if you need to contact us directly, our company number is 908-547-0404. Reach out to us anytime. We're here to help first and foremost, and hopefully it's February 10th, the day after the big winter snow, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the sunshine and staying out of the cold. So God bless, and hopefully I see you on the next video. Take care.